Hello. As I'm walking to the stage, this is our first test in our sanctuary, so hopefully this will go well. I just want to share a devotion with you today. The passage of Scripture we're going to look at this morning is found in Luke chapter 14. And it's a parable of the great banquet. And we find a story here where Jesus is told them that a man invited everyone to a great banquet. And they gave invitations to all the usual folks you would come. And sent out invitations, and then they began to send excuses of why they could not be there. And in the end, no one is coming. And the master is quite upset. And so the master comes back and he says, the owner of the house became angry and ordered the servant, go out quickly and into the streets and alleys and towns and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame. And he said, sir, the servant said, what you ordered has been done, but there's still room. And the master told the servant, go out into the roads, the country lanes, and make them come in so that my house may be full. And as I thought about that story, I was reminded about our impressions that we have of people, about whether people are open to the gospel or not to the gospel, or who to invite to come to the gospel. And as I thought about that, I was remembering a story about Bentley, our dog. In fact, over the next few weeks, our devotionals are going to be called the Chronicles of Bentley. Chronicles of Bentley. Little things I've learned from our dog. We all know my dog Bentley, little Westie. He's a pound pup, showed up one day, roaming at large in Autauga County, just the county just adjacent to us. And one of the things I remember about Bentley is the time that Bentley walks. He and I walk all the time. At least 3 times a day, in the morning, in the afternoon, sometime we'll walk, and then in the evening before he calls it a day. And I remember as we got to walk, I got to know our neighborhood as I never had been before. And one of the things I hadn't paid attention to much was we used to pass by this house all the time, and in the driveway was a dog. Not any dog, a big dog, a Huskey, huge old dog. And he would just lie there all the time, just sleeping, just doing nothing. And I began to notice him as we passed him by, and then when we drive, he'd be in the same spot all the time, just lying there. Nothing ever happened. And Bentley and I passed him again and again, walking away, coming back again and again. Nothing happened. And then all of a sudden one day as we were walking, all of a sudden peripheral vision, I just noticed the dog was coming toward us. But not just coming in any way, he was coming down low, like those things on the Wild Kingdom or whatever. And he was crouching toward us, coming right at us. And I thought, what on earth? He's going to eat Bentley or eat me. I didn't know what. And so I just pulled Bentley to the side and I told him, back, told him, get away. And we just kept on walking. Well, we went our usual walkway up the hill, and then we came back to home, and I thought, well, we'll just avoid any conflict this time. And so instead of walking on the side of the road near him, we'll go way on the other side, and surely he'd just ignore us. So we went on the other side of the road, and we were passing by, just kind of being very discreet. And all of a sudden, he's doing the same thing, slowly coming to us. I thought, just like a lion about to pounce on his prey. I thought, we're going to die. And so I just stop, and I grab Bentley, and we get out of there. And I thought, this is terrible. Bentley and I have enjoyed this kind of walking routine every day, 3 times a day, maybe more than that. And now we're going to have to go somewhere else because we don't want to get eaten up every day. And so we went a different direction once or twice. And then finally I got in my head, I'm not going to let this dog determine where I walk. I'm just not going to let it happen. And so we're going to stop it, and I'll be tough. And so we go walking by that yard, and surely he'll leave us alone. And all of a sudden we come by, and I'm way on the other side of the road, and sure enough, here comes that dog. And I thought, I have just done a dumb thing. That dog is going to kill Bentley, kill me. It's going to be a dog fight. I don't know what's going on. Well, Bentley's fearless. He loves everybody and everything. And so while I'm trying to go away, Bentley is going toward him. And I thought, what's going to happen? There's going to be a fight. And so Bentley goes toward him. Before I can stop him, he and the dog are together. And lo and behold, instead of a dog fight, you know what we had? a dog dance. Have you ever seen that? When dogs play, they get way down low, they get right in front of each other, and they bounce around. They sniff each other, they bounce around, they play. That's the way they play. Well, sure enough, that dog didn't want to eat Bentley. That dog wanted to play with Bentley. And so they began to sniff and bounce around, and he didn't eat us, and everything was okay. Well, as we began to walk every day, Bentley, that dog, which we called, I don't know to this day what his name is, but we called him Harvey. Harvey the Husky. He and Bentley became buddies. And in fact, every time we went by that area, that dog would be sleeping in the driveway, and Bentley would go over to him. And sometimes we'd walk in the middle of the night. Bentley had to go out one last time, 11, 12 at night or whatever. And he'd go over to that dog and he'd wake the dog up. He'd sniff at him. He'd kind of poke him a little bit, and that dog would bounce up. And that dog would walk with us. He became Bentley's best buddy. Every time we went by, they went together. They went walking. We went walking up the street. The dog walked back with me until he went back home. And he became his best buddy. You know, when we look out in the world in which we live, just like in this story, they gave out the invitations to the usual folks, the people they knew, the people they recognized, the people they thought would respond to the gospel. And many of them rejected it. But the master was not satisfied. He said, go to places you wouldn't think about going. Go to the back roads. Go to the backside, the wrong side of the tracks. And people that we think may not respond to the gospel, the master says they will respond and they will come. Why? Because I want my house to be full. And a lot of times we look at people like that husky and we just think that husky's danger, that husky is just means it's no good. But the truth is we don't know. I didn't know that husky. I didn't know that husky was going to be Bentley's best buddy. I had no idea his intents. I couldn't tell what was in his little head and his big heart. And that is, he just wanted a little buddy to play with. Nobody else. He wanted Bentley. And you know, we look out in the world today and we see all kinds of people and we just think that's somebody that they'll never respond. We have no idea. I remember I went to a church years ago in the neighborhood around us. I wanted to do a canvas, go invite them to our church and see where they went to church or if they had a church home. And I remember one of the members said, you don't ever need to do that. We know everybody that's out there. And everybody out there is either going to church somewhere else or they don't want to go to church. Well, over the next 5 years, I found out a whole bunch of people out there didn't go to church, didn't know the Lord, and ended up coming to our church. Why? Because somebody invited them. They were checked off. And we need to check people out before we choose to check them off. God has a heart for everybody. He wants us to do whatever it takes. He wants us to go wherever we can go to share the good news. And along the way, you may be stunned to find out how many Harvey the Huskies you find out who end up being your best buddies and end up being people who find and accept the Lord. Well, check that parable out in Luke chapter 14, verses 15 through 24. It's a great parable by Jesus. I love you. Hope you have a great week. God bless you. I hope you enjoyed seeing our sanctuary today. And now I'm going to go turn it off. We'll be more technically savvy next time we get together. God bless you.